Today we're sharing 5 sailing mistakes we used to make. Hope you enjoy.
Sailing mistake number 1 was we only sailed with the Genoa. Just the Genoa and 2.5 knots. That was pretty fast.
All right, so that's what we're doing right now. We have the Genoa out, and just the Genoa, and only about 50% of it. It's a 135 Genoa, which means it covers 135% of the mast. That's 35% past the mast. So it's a huge sail. We first started sailing, we had no experience other than a few lessons, and it was intimidating. So the mainsail was intimidating, and we realized we can put the Genoa out and we can float along like we are now at a peaceful 2.5 knots. 3 knots was fast back then. And it was easy to do, and it caused some problems though, and it created bad habits because it didn't teach us how to balance the sails. And since then we've learned the mainsail is actually your rudder. Your rudder is your secondary rudder. A properly balanced mainsail will balance the whole boat. So while it's very convenient for a quick 1-hour hop, it wasn't sufficient to really learn how to sail. And probably at that time, it's all we could do. That mistake was probably the best sailing we could do at the time. So that's what we're doing now. And we have half the Genoa out. Not much at all.
I don't like to go slow anymore. This is awful. We're not getting anywhere. It's a little boring. I guess if I had a drink in my hand and I was sitting down resting, probably like it better. Mistake number 2 is always sailing with everything super reefed. So just a little bit of main, just a little bit of Genoa, still slow sailing. Well, we have like 9 to 10 knots of wind right now, but we're only doing 2.6 knots, which wasn't a bad deal in the beginning because the boat's not heeled over any. We just go really, really slow.
Well, going slow is relaxing, and there's totally nothing wrong with that. We could have dinner here, we could cook down below, but we always sailed this way. And so, starting to go offshore, we learned that over-reefing, it makes it uncomfortable in any type of seaway. There's a balance. There's a wave pattern. There's like this, I hate to say it, but there's a cadence to the waves, and you have to have enough power in your sails to power through them, at least for our boat, to be comfortable. But yeah, so this is totally relaxing, but it is a mistake if you're wanting to make any types of distance or have any type of control in a larger sea state. It's actually dangerous. If we're going to do a 200 nautical mile trip and we're only going 2 knots, that's 100 hours. And so that's a 5-day trip when it should just be an overnighter. That could put you in the way of bad weather. It could present new risks. So there's a balance to have with the sails.
Mistake number 3 as newbies was never using the mainsheets. We didn't have much experience in our lessons with using the mainsheets, so we were afraid of them. We were afraid that when we messed with them, the boat was going to heel too much, and it caused a lot of problems.
The mainsheets in our boat actually go on both sides. I don't know if you can see that. And for most cases, we just use it right here on this winch. It allows us, and we didn't realize this, it allows us to shape the sail. It allows us to spill wind out of the mainsail so that if we do feel like we have too much power, we can quickly just spill the wind out. Right now we're on a close haul. It allows us to pull the sail in so that we can grab more wind and sail more into the wind. This boat, the 387, actually sails about 35 degrees off the wind as long as we have the full Genoa out. We'll talk about that later. But yeah, we didn't understand the main sheets. This is part of the reason we were scared of the main. And we had what we used to do is overpower the main by keeping the boom right in the center. Right now I feel the wind picking up. If we want it calmer, I just release the main sheet and that flattens the boat out. It'll calm down, it spills wind, makes it easier to sail. Now we're about to crash into this trawler here, so we're gonna tack and we'll talk a little more. All right, crisis averted from the little trawler there. Maybe a new mistake a couple months from now will be never try to film right around obstructions. So, not using the main sheets. Oh, another problem that caused for us, you know, you're supposed to be able to bear away from the wind if things get too out of control, if you want to, you know, feel a little less apparent wind. But because we didn't understand the main sheets, whenever we bared away from the wind, you know, instead of going into the wind, we steered away, it would grab the wind too much because we had the boom in the wrong position. We didn't even know it. So the advice we were given to bear away wouldn't work because we were making the mistake of not using the main sheets. And every time we get on a beam reach, it's supposed to be a beautiful point of sail, but it was aggressive and strong because we over trimmed by not releasing the main sheets. Oh, it was so horrible. But that leads us to our fourth mistake, which is kind of a cousin to the third mistake.
Mistake number 4 was we didn't know anything about using the traveler. In our first lessons with ASA, we learned all about the different points of sails and where the boom should be, but it never made this click when we actually were sailing by ourselves that, oh, you actually have to move the boom with the traveler and the sheets to make that happen.
Let's demonstrate. Where are we at? We're about 30 degrees off the wind. 60 degrees.
So actually, the boom right now is in probably a pretty good position.
It's a pretty good position.
For
but if I want to get a little more power without adding more looseness to the leech line, all right, to the back line of the sail, I can actually just move the boom over with the traveler. So the traveler in our boat, most boats are set up the same way. It's 2 lines, and it simply moves the traveler, which is the component, the blocks right in front of me, and that pulls the boom over. Good, we're doing 3.7.
I feel like you have the boom more on a close haul and not on a very close reach, huh?
Yeah, so let's talk about that. We got cheese maker. Go for it, I'll eat whatever you cook.
Oh, really?
Yep. All right, so we have the traveler moved over. The boom is almost to the midship. We're on a good close reach here. You can
more on a close haul and not on a very close reach.
We're on a good close reach here. You can
more on a close haul and not on a very close reach.
We're on a good close reach here. You can see the sail is nice and full. We don't have a lot of wind, but we're hitting how much?
3.8 knots.
3.8 knots. We're trying to keep it calm so we don't make a mistake as we're videoing, but I think it's time to release these sails and do a little sailing. But there's one more mistake. Number 5.
Our 5th mistake is, or was, it's not that way anymore. Our 5th mistake was only sailing with a portion of the Genoa. We never sailed with 100% or 135, whatever it is, percent of the Genoa. We always had it slightly reefed.
Why'd you do that? Why are you making those mistakes?
Newbies, we were afraid of heeling. The Genoa offers a whole lot of power. It really makes the boat go fast and lean, and I was scared. We'll just put it that way. I'm not scared anymore. I like to do 8 knots. I like to go fast.
What did you used to be afraid of?
That the boat was going to tip over.
Me too.
And
it was bad. I had so much anxiety.
Anytime the rails got too close to the water, it was terrifying. This is your house. So.
Oh my gosh. So sailing will expose your anxiety. Years of work and years of stress, and pressures of life and relationships and money and all the burdens and health. You get out and start sailing and you don't know what you're doing. You're making the 5 mistakes that we made. At least when we made the mistakes, it just brought to surface all of this anxiety I had that I didn't even realize it. Like, it took months, literally. We've been here for 8 months now, 10 months on the boat.
Yeah.
It took months, 3 to 4 months, more than that, 5 or 6 months before I could deal with that anxiety and come out here and be calm like the waves. It just just stirred it up, man. It was crazy. I didn't mean to go psychology on you, but I really didn't. So, one more thing about the Genoa, something we've learned is this Genoa on this boat, when you put it completely out, which let me go ahead and do. So when we put the Genoa all the way out, I need to trim it a little bit, but it balances the boat. It counteracts, it pulls more of the center of effort forward, so it counteracts the tendency for the boat to turn up in the wind. But not so much that you can't turn up in the wind and calm the boat. So it just creates a nice balance of where the power is situated in the sails. And right now, this is a comfortable sail. We're probably going 4.5, 5 knots. The Genoa is not trimmed. I need to trim it. Will be a good solid sail, and then we're going to tack. And Olivia's making us some grilled cheese. All right, ready about?
Well, life has
Elms to
nearly
lead.
killed me, and my mind is putting me on, yeah.
All right.
Life has nearly killed me, mind is putting me on,
There you go.
yeah. Though I can barely crawl, I've
Nice.
got
Good
to
job.
walk where these angels feed the tree. Darkness nearly drowned me. Sunlight low, don't it burn my eyes. Darkness nearly drowned me. Sunlight low, don't it burn my eyes.
So in here in the kitchen we have prep for sandwiches. We're gonna make some grilled cheese. We don't have American cheese right now, so we're gonna have to make our own cheese mix. So yeah, pretty much I'm gonna throw the first one on.
My cup
Go on.
is nearly empty. I got such a long,
Okay.
long way to go. Cup is nearly empty. Got such a long, long
Okay.
way to go.
Now that's staying on, that butter's gonna start melting. I'm just gonna
I got to lay down
maybe just
and
pretty much
rest
slice it around.
before I can take another step down that lonesome road. Where the darkness nearly drowned me, sunlight burned my eyes. This valley is much
Now I'm gonna just mix the cheeses on there and put the other slice on, and then I'm gonna put its lid over it, which will start to like steam the cheese. So that is how I make my grilled cheeses.
Well, my cup is nearly empty. I got such a long, long, long way to go.
Okay, so I have the first sandwich in there. It's cooking now. Okay, so we just made the sandwiches. They took a while, but we got them. Got some chips, some water, and now we're gonna have lunch.
Her dad tried to knock her over on the hill while she's cooking. Or as Uncle Mike says, on the tilt.
Cooking on tilt.
On the tilt.
So thank you for watching this episode. We really appreciate you tuning in, and hope you learned something with us as we shared the 5 sailing mistakes we used to make. My sandwich is getting cold, so I'm about to jump to that. If you like the video, leave us a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet, if you're new here, consider subscribing to see our new episodes every Sunday. And hopefully next week we'll be able to share yes, we're sharing our long-term plan coming up this summer and beyond. And hopefully we'll be sharing a few offshore trips that we have planned here in the next few days. So thanks again for watching. We appreciate it. How much zebras are good?
That's good. Go.
Today we're sharing 5 mistakes. Hold on. Today we're sharing 5 sailing mistakes we used to make.
Do it one more time.
And we're doing.
It's true.
I feel like you're even pointing at me.
Oh, sorry, I was.
You don't hate to say that, you do it all the time.
Peanut gallery. All right, yeah, she may be right about that. They're using the camera. She's a camera lady. All right, so the main sheet in our boat is right here. That was a little loud, wasn't it? I'm gonna yell.